Hello. How's everyone this morning? Whoops. Hold on. Giveaway. There. Boom. I know how you guys get. Got to make sure those giveaways are in. All right. So let's just dive into things today. Quite a busy day. So Melissa has the dog victim at the at our ped. So they're just doing a checkup, making sure everything is good. Jen actually fell asleep at like 9:15 last night, so she slept almost 12 hours. It was crazy. I don't even know when the last time she slept that much. I guess the being up super late the night before, um, you know, had her extra tired. But yeah, she's living it up. She's feeling good. No major problems there. So um, data this morning, pretty interesting. The currency realm in the last 24 hours is again a lot of retracing, a lot of flat, and it's kind of interesting. There's I'm going to say some pre-positioning happening, but there's definitely some battles going on out there, and it's kind of I wouldn't say that any of them has kind of run away with it. So starting off early this morning, CPI for year over year for pound went up. It was already supposed to go up point 0.2, went up point 0.3, so a higher than expected change there. There's not a ton of. I wouldn't say there's like you're not seeing crazy pound movement off of this one. I'm actually surprised we're not seeing a little bit more, but again, they did say that they were going to do a little bit more and kind of temper it. Now they've been going slow, and a lot of the problems here is yes, they need to raise, they need to control inflation, but again, their economy isn't kind of as stable. So it's kind of more in a situation where I don't want to say recession is there, but kind of recession is kind of more there. So kind of a hard thing. But again, 9.4 year over year. It's a crazy, crazy amount to think that it is that high. Then looking at CAD data that just came out. So CAD's data, it's interesting. The CPI month over month didn't come in overall as high as expected. But again, it was supposed to increase by zero point 0.9 and it increased by zero point 0.7 month over month. So remember, they did do a bigger than expected rise in the interest rate. So again, zero point 0.7 is still kind of higher than what you would like. And then some of the data in here is interesting. So the common, right? This is where it gets confusing. So, this is the change in goods and services purchased by consumers, right? Kind of, we could be like, hey, how's that different? It's kind of the same thing as that overall CPI, but you can see again, month to month over year. Again, 4.6 it was, and again they adjusted last time up 4.5 and then 4.6. So again, a green adjustment. The expectation was 4.2, so higher than expected. And then the median, the average price stayed the same, but again, continuing 4.9. They expected 5.1, and then the trimmed I think is probably the most important to look at. And again, their trimmed is excluding the most volatile 40% of items. So it's kind of a lot. Typically it's like, oh, bell curve. We're going to take the, you know, top 10, bottom 10, get those out of there. But this is top 20, bottom 20. So you only kind of hit the really the kind of I don't want to say the meat, but it's the most common items, right? That one is up 5.5. It was 5.4, so didn't go as high as expected, but again, pretty close. It was definitely higher and building. So again, some red, some green. You're seeing the cat is down. Again, it's a bit more of an acceleration, and it's actual legitimate data. So again, we're seeing that is again. I guess the dollar yen is kind of beating it a little bit, but you're seeing dollar strength, dollar strength, dollar strength, dollar strength. Little dollar weakness here, but then against the CAD's the biggest mover, and again, it's because of this data. So again, a lot of positioning, a lot of people kind of expected it, but a little bit mixed, right? Tomorrow morning, we're getting some more data, and again, this is where we're seeing that raise, and this is we've been waiting for. We've been talking about it forever. That in July, the euro, and again, when they say July, it's like let's take it to the very very end. In July, we're going to see an interest rate rise finally. First one, again, the euro is behind, right, because of the war and all this other stuff like that. Going to see the first rise now. We're not seeing a ton of pre-positioning yet. 0.25 is it's the first step, but it's not a lot. Pretty much everybody else last time was doing 0.5s, 0.75s, or 1.0. So 0.25 is again, I guess it's a good first step. They are taking the first step in the right direction, I guess. But what does it really mean? We'll see tomorrow how they play it. And again, that's coming in at 8:15. And then we have some U.S. data coming in. Again, the unemployment claims, the manufacturing index. Again, this is probably low. I'm assuming this will be higher. Excuse me. The Empire number was much higher than that, so could be some interesting data tomorrow morning, and then obviously an ECB press conference after. So, again, enough data in the next 24 hours. Kind of interesting how it's setting up there. And again, but overall, we're not seeing major swings or anything like that. So nothing too crazy. Um, this is funny. So there has been other data out there, and again, this came in just a little while ago. We are yet to see in which condition equipment from Nord Stream 1 will return to maintenance. So I don't know. There's a risk that the equipment could be switched off. If Nord Stream 1 stops after return from Canada. So it's kind of like, okay. I thought everything was back online with this yesterday, but now I guess that it is coming back around again. I didn't think they were going to turn it back down, but they are. Um, so yeah. Um, Again, oil declines of stockpile data amid choppy trading. Again, oil's been kind of back and forth. It's really hovering around that 100, and people aren't sure what to do with it yet right now. Again, a lot of it, I think, is recession trading. Now, this is one, too, that I think is important to note. And again, it's not marked, but city economists call global recession a clear and present danger. So I think really this is kind of where oil is kind of hovering. The inventory was there, and again, remember the inventory part of it was like, oh, we're returning. The demand is coming back again. Post COVID. But again, post COVID is one thing. Global recession is another one, and we've kind of seen this in the past before. What this looks like, um, you know, I would say that the environment is different than when we went into COVID. What I mean by that was you know, there are more people remote working. We saw those people going back, and now we're kind of back in the kind of laying people off business again. So, and globally, other countries tend to take kind of global recessions and lower demand and things like that a little bit harder than the United States does. So I think that's kind of where oil is really kind of stuck with right now. And again, I think China's kind of saving us over there. But this, I definitely think is excuse me, definitely something I think we need to keep on the radar. And again, not a tradable action for today, but I think that's what we're really going to have to watch out for. Besides that, not a whole lot out here. Special operations. What else we got down here? Nothing really else. I tried to resign last week because unity ended, but the president asked me to stay on. I love that. I tried to get out, but they wanted me because I'm so popular. Draghi's an interesting dude. I don't even know how to hard to say much more about him, but yeah, he's an interesting dude. Don't want to say that he has a large ego, but he yeah, definitely has a bit of an ego. So, we'll see. Um, but again, the Russia data is pretty interesting. So, what is he saying? Hold on, what is this? The the geographical objectives of the special operation in Ukraine have changed from just DVR and inland to a number of other territories. Oh, if West delivers long range weapons to Kiev, geographical will be advanced even further. Yeah, not surprised at that one. Um, yeah, basically what he's saying is originally we wanted the two regions where I guess the separatists had actually controlled that they wanted those taken off. But if they're going to send long range weapons in there, then it's going to change because we need more of a buffer. Um, this is an interesting statement. Yesterday, I guess that Russia has now started to deploy hypersonic missiles, cruise missiles. Um, and they're actually ahead of the United States. So everything we read, oh, Russia's bad. They're they're losing this thing. It's over, right? Russia has actually advanced further than the United States at a faster pace. If you guys don't know what hypersonic weapons are, you guys can look it up. But basically, they travel like 9 times the speed of sound, and they're like smart cruise missiles. Basically, is what they are. So instead of ballistic missiles that shoot up in a trajectory that can be shot down easily, these are low to the ground and kind of go up, down, left, right, sideways, like a video game. And they're 6 times faster than the speed of sound. So it's one of those things that passes by and then you hear it a couple seconds later. And I guess current missile systems are unable to shoot them down because one, they're so fast, and two, because they're so maneuverable. Um, and they've developed them for, I guess, to be launched from submarines as well as they do have land versions, but the submarine thing is a big deal because I guess they move fast enough that I guess aircraft carriers are a big risk. They can shoot like these things like shoot like 650 miles or something like that. So basically, if you can get a submarine within 650 miles, by the time that they can realize that this thing has been shot, it moves so fast that they could take out a lot of our aircraft carriers. So interesting. The United States has tried to do it. We're actually behind in the program. They've mentioned it. They finally have tested their first booster or something, but kind of almost like a leveling, a field leveling tool. So interesting that they're talking about how, hey, listen, if you're going to send those missiles in, we're sending. We're going to take more of it because we need more of a buffer then. So we'll see. I love it. We're not fighting the war, but we're going to send enough, weapons to basically fight the war. So, eh. Right now, I think the recession is going to be the bigger fact. It seems like all this data is just they throw it out here, but we're not seeing market movement whatsoever. Um, all right, so let's go right back into the charts and kind of start off with the VIX. So VIX is up a little bit, but I wouldn't say the trajectory for the VIX has changed too much. It has pushed up a little, and again, it's not really necessarily a supply and demand tool. It gapped down from the close and has kind of pushed back up. But again, 24 is kind of somewhat low, right? I mean, we've been dealing with all the way, excuse me, all the way up in the 35 range. But for the most part, anything below this should be considered a little bit on the lower side. I mean, again, this is a 30-minute, but you can see we got up in the 30s is not really a big deal. And again, when we start to get to this 20, low 20s, 22 range, it's considered kind of low on the curve here. So again, low volatility. We don't necessarily have a lot of data for us coming out today. And that's just one of those things. Without the data, again, you can see the headlines. Russia's basically like, yep, you guys do that. We're taking over more of the country. Um, No movement. It used to be when there was any Russian headline, we'd see a huge spike up in the VIX, right? Now, it doesn't really have a whole lot there. Everybody's played their cards. So right now, it's just more banter going back and forth, and the country is slowly disappearing, right? Um, But I guess the alternative is better, right? People being kind of bored with it now. It could be major headlines, right? Them saying that we'll take over more of the Ukraine does nothing, right? If they say if you send weapons in, we are going to target the grain supplies that are tasked for exporting, that would send this thing through the roof. So I guess taking more Ukrainian territory is more important than attacking the grain supplies. But yeah, so VIX is kind of slowing down, and even the dollar right now, you can see is up point. It's really kind of bouncing around. And we talked yesterday about this 106.60 level. It was a level that we got a nice pop of, and you can see we hit it. We bounced again, and again we're still bouncing inside of that same level here. So the dollar obviously lower. We kind of pushed the top from that 109, but now we're actually finding an area, and if we can break through the 106.35 ish area, we do have a bit of a racetrack. At least until we get down to kind of this level of basing here, which is all the way down at 105. So we are kind of in an interesting area where we should see some type of a drop. And can we get that low? Yeah, we can, but I feel like with this pushing this far down, I feel like it's more setting up for kind of another kind of buying opportunity, more dollar strength coming in, because we know again with all the data out there, and again if we're going to actually follow the data, this one should again we will see another interest rate rise. The economy is doing okay right now, and you know it's just a matter of it's not an if, it's a when it's coming in. We know that it's coming in, so we'll see. Um, yeah. Let's go across and talk about the Aussie. So the Aussie, yesterday we talked about an area up here at 96.12, right? And when we ended up pushing, I can adjust the fib on that one if you want. Come a little bit higher. We ended up hitting it and coming back down again and finding the base right below. And this is one of those problems when you're setting up your trades. You got to look for basing levels and see where buyers are stepping in. Perfect example. It hit the buyers at the 69.12, came back down, found the buyers down here at the 68.93, right? There was not enough room for a 1 to 3. Came back up again and kind of hit that more near term, hit that level again, hit it close, right? Went back up, hit that level yet again, right? And then came back down, kind of went higher to grab some more, and then came back down and hit that level again. So you can see that there's a little kind of tug of war smashing back and forth. Whoops, I didn't want to move that. I would say right now, what I'd be looking for this one is again kind of a complete reversal. We know that this level has supported buyers here, 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 and here. We've had 4 hits. If we start to come through, it looks like we can have another break. And I would say that setting this one up and again, it's not that old, but we can set it to here. The risk on that one is 10 pips. You guys know how much I love 10 pip trades. 1 to 3 is sitting right there. So a little bit deep into the next level. And again, maybe take this one off at like a 2.8 instead of a 3. But I would say taking this over, looking for this 68.57 is probably going to be the best bet for this one. And all this is a return to dollar strength. We're seeing dollar buying in the Dixie. Um, And again, looking for a base through, pushing down. Again, that's just dollar strength coming back to the market. So, and again, that's nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong with that one pushing to the downside. And then after that, obviously, right now, if this truly was the top, and again, we can adjust this, we'll actually bring it up here and kind of adjust it for the most recent level, right? Um, by adjusting fibs there, you can see that now that 50% on this overall low to high actually is coming back to an area which, again, base right there. There's actually a base a little bit lower, but we can mark a level right here and say, hey, if we do get something here and we start to break through, right, we come down in base in this target. If we want to maintain dollar strength, all of a sudden this level right here becomes now a target, right? Um, it becomes a target. So again, keep that on your radar. This one's getting a little bit busy. Let me see, the 23. I'm gonna pull this one back just to kind of keep it to there. Yeah, we're messing with the 68. This is the 68, 61.8. If we go any higher than this, we'll take it off. So, all right, so there we go. So that's what we're looking at, grand scheme of things, right? Oops, right there. So this last major push, it's the 61.8 that we're kind of turning and bouncing off of. So, there is a bit of a justification to be looking for sells on that one. And again, it's just been ping pong back and forth, right? Um, Aussie yen. So Aussie yen, we had talked about a level, and again, this 95.61. We mentioned the two levels, and again, we came up and we started basing right below it, and you're like, oh, okay, and then it's like, uh-oh, and then it came up, and then it was doing the same type of ping-ponging effect. I actually thought we'd get more of a push down on this one, but the yen, unfortunately, just didn't give us any strength whatsoever, and kind of messed this one up. So, we can take the level off now. Um, if anything, we could kind of adjust it and talk about this level here. But unfortunately, as far as a Harry Potter goes, there's another little base right below it. So, maybe it breaks and uses that level, and that's where it turns to come back up again and then pushes down. But the question is, it's only hit one time and kind of bounce. Can it bounce out of here again? And I feel like the answer is probably yes. So again, Aussie, a lot of ping ponging back and forth, and this one right now you can see is the Aussie dollar's down 4 in 24 hours, 3. So it just hasn't had a lot of motion, and we even had news last night, and there was really nothing coming out of it. So, you know, my thing on this one, um, again, unfortunately, there's so much chop in here. There's just not really like a clean level. Um, there's a few. I mean, there's a few small levels, but I just don't love any of them in here. Um, yeah, see, it's the basing here and drop. The basing here, drop. This one at least had a test on it, but I just don't. None of them are like. Oops. None of them are like earth shattering, right? Let's put a test right there. Okay, it's probably where the next little test is going to come up. So, again, could there be a potential in here? Yeah. Is it? Do I love it? Is it the best thing I've ever seen? Um, no, no. Hold on one sec. All right. Yeah. But if it does push down and you take this one short, again, profit taking will probably come in around this 23.6. So profit taking most likely down here in the 94.50 range is where I'd be looking for this guy if you're looking to take profit. Okay. All right. Euro dollar. So euro dollar. This one we talked about having that Harry Potter, and interesting enough, I'll remove this out of the way. You can see that it did end up basing in there again, right? It came in at base and base and base, and it pulled back up again and used this kind of upper level here, right? So we had been talking about getting short from either two levels, but the same ping pong effect, right? We hit it here at 7, hit it here at 8:30, hit it here at 10:30, dropped down again. It did not give us the Harry Potter, came back up again, tagged the top side, based in there again, came up, and then finally just, again, the 6:30 data today just sliced through and made it all the way. So again, a little bit harder of a play on this one. You did get decent movement, but it's retraced again. It's literally pulled back again, and we're minus 28 24 hours. So you can see we're still kind of dealing with the same level. And what makes this one a little bit more challenging right now? Again, because we have um, them raising interest rates tomorrow, it's kind of hard to really get short this one, knowing what's coming. We should see a lot of I would say, strength today coming in as the market adjusts. But right now, you can see it's down 0.03. It's really just almost down nothing for the day. So it's kind of flat on the day. Um, if we continue to maintain this kind of, I don't want to say your weakness, but it's preparation for your raise. There could be a potential bounce coming around back here. And again, it's got to move. It's got to move like 96 pips. That's a lot of pips for this to move today, with not a whole lot of data. That may actually be something more for tomorrow that we look to kind of get in. So, yeah, it's a lot. But right now, it to me, it's the same as the Aussie dollar. I would say more bearish than anything else, seeing dollar strength kind of rolling in the US based session. And again, we did have that position there. And again, early morning, if you were looking to set this up Nadex wise, again, you're taking a little bit of heat, right? But then kind of pushed well past our profit target. 73 to, yeah, about by about 10, 15 pips. So it's there, and all we've done, we've pulled back to the same level. So, overall, I would say bearish today. I don't know if we can go 100 and something pips down to the 101.33, but if we could, that would be a buying opportunity for me if we got that low. And again, 0.25 is not a lot, but at least you know it's something, right? It's something. The first one, euro pound. So euro pound. Yesterday, right? We talked about this level at 85.33. We'd been there before. We had this level marked off. There's the actual level with the test, and there's your trade setup. And this one again triggered right at 3 o'clock in the morning, so should have been for any of you that were awake. Easy one. I was not. There's your 1 to 3. So you can see blew right through. And what did it do? It used 85. Right. We know that 85 is going to be a big psychological level no matter what. And it's been really kind of a magnet. We went down this far, we went up this far, we came back down, we pulled it again. So it's just hit again and again. I would say right now I kind of like this one short today as well. Again, we know they're raising interest rates tomorrow, but a lot of it is being baked in, and people trying to get long ahead of the data will help kind of short this to the downside. So um, it's there, but again, the trade's already completed from yesterday, so kind of hard to get back in for another attempt. But if you did get in, again, I would look for the same levels. Um, you can see that the 23.6 is sitting down here at 85.08. That may be a great little place to take it. Again, you can see it sliced through. It didn't even slow it down last time, but it's well beyond what the 1 to 3 is, right? So maybe a little bit maybe a little bit safer to trade it in that area. Um, and not really hold it much farther. But if for some reason we are able to push all the way down, and again, I don't think so. It's only 45 pips. It could get that low. If we can get to 84.77 before the news tomorrow, remember we got news sitting right there. And again, it's not 3 o'clock in the morning. It is that early morning one. That's at the 8 o'clock in the morning. If we can push all the way down, I think that's a great opportunity to go long. So, um, yeah, yeah. Sorry, hold on. I got like four alerts all at the same time. All right. Nothing noteworthy. I'm like panicked. I'm like, oh god, Melissa's gonna mess me. Melissa flies out today, so needless to say, it's a little bit chaotic today with doctor's appointment, last minute stuff, and it's funny she can't actually check in because her Canadian passport has her maiden name, um, but all of her vaccine cards and everything are off of her obviously her married name, and because they don't match, Canada doesn't recognize them. And because Melissa's aren't in, they won't accept gins or kips. So she's absolutely stressed out. She can't check in for any of her flights, and she's like, "Oh my god, what's gonna happen?" I'm like, "Okay." So we're literally, I think she wants me to drop her off at the airport like 2 hours earlier, 2.5, 3 hours early, something like that, because she's afraid it's gonna be nothing but a battle. I was like, "It'll be fine. It'll be fine." So yeah, my poor wife. Yeah, definitely say a prayer for her. She's yeah, more than just a little stressed. And again, she hasn't seen her parents in or she hasn't been back to Canada. I guess I hadn't seen her parents for like 2 years now, 3 years, because obviously with COVID, Canada locked down the border with the United States. There was no way to get there. And then, of course, 2 days beforehand, Jin decides to, you know, get her face bitten by the dog. So, mom, and so far, mom has been like, yeah, it's okay. But once they see her, they're going to be like, nope, you need to get rid of animals. Animals are bad. So I'm going to hear about that one. So but anyway, hopefully you guys were able to take this one yesterday. It's a little small trade, a little 25 pipper on that one. Euro yen. So euro yen, we are kind of in that Harry Potter range, and we talked about a break of this 140.67. This one again is going to require some, a little bit of help and weakness. This one we had a profit target listed down here at 140.09, or actually 140.10. Let's just change it to that because that's what it is. Um, it's not quite there yet, but again, we have three consecutive, or I guess two consecutive after the new high, higher lows, and we're seeing lower lows. Right. So again, we are kind of in this. Actually, here, I'll just do it this way. I'll just put the parallel channel on there because that is exactly what it is. And it's right there. Right. So we are pushing down. We have broken through. If we come and start basing, this is one of those ones that I think you can take lower. It's a little 50 pip trade. Yes, it goes against the 0.25. But again, I think the market pretty much expects the 0.25. So bring the marriage license. Yeah, Debbie, that's what she's going to do. But unfortunately, there's no way to upload. So basically Canada gets really, really crazy. You still have to wait in line. So don't this is what's crazy about it. So when you arrive, you have to have all your forms ready. Like when you get on the plane, they want you to start filling out all your like arrival paperwork, like all your claims and everything like that. Now they want you to do it electronically, right? Even though you still have to wait in line. Like it doesn't make a difference. You still have to wait in the customs line to do it, right? But because there's the difference, like her passport, her Canadian passport expires next year. So she on her renewal, she was just going to get the name changed, and they have such a problem with the different name. Like they're like, "Well, why didn't you change it? Why isn't it changed yet?" You know, like so they like it's insane. Yeah, so when she has to book things, and it's a pain because like credit cards are in Caprice, but you know, her, all because her Canadian passport is Lee, it causes all kinds of problems. So it's just insane. So I feel bad for her. But anyway, euro dollar, like this one short again. Just watch out for the 0.25 tomorrow. There's plenty of time. Um, so yeah. Uh, and and on top of that, I mean, this is the first time that Kip is traveling. We brought Jin back about the same age, so I mean, it'll be her traveling with two little kids. I didn't go, which is good that I didn't go because after Millie is now on like quarantine or whatever. So we would rather have to if I because you know the quarantine thing, I would have either had to send her to the county and she would have been in. I don't know if they would have done it. Yeah, because she has to be in quarantine for 10 days now because she bit a child, and they just want to make sure that she's there's nothing wrong with Millie. Um, if we weren't here, if we were going out of town, I feel like they would have like she'd be like in like the county pound for 10 days, which would be horrible for her. So I may have to cancel. So I don't know. It's so much drama, so much drama. But yeah, next time we come down, we do any basing. Look at the short. This one at 141.63 all the way down to 140. Nice little 50 pip runner. Pound. So here's the pound trade from yesterday. Um, yeah, we ended up tagging it right here. We marked it off, and again, we missed the opportunity. And 11 o'clock, right after we got off yesterday, this one actually triggered. It got close, but there's your trigger. And again, this one was a nice little 40 pip runner to the downside. It actually went a little bit more than that. This one actually went 60 pips total, but we had marked off 40 on this one. And all it did was a retrace back up again and kind of, it's been more or less moving sideways. I mean, this one's down 26 pips in 24 hours. So, barely 1 pip an hour. But again, had you been on yesterday's session, we talked about the near miss, but we still like the 120.42. And again, tagged it right at 11 o'clock, actually, probably a little bit after 11. Oh no, it was right. I guess it was 11. It wasn't 11. It was the 11 o'clock candle. So yeah, right after we got off, like I said, I knew we were close. We were talking, and it was kind of fluctuating back and forth, and we were down here. Um, needed what? Yeah, it needed to jump about 20 pips, and it did. It jumped up 20 pips, and then boom. Within 2 hours, you were out of this one. And like I said, nice little 40 pip one there. Those are always nice when you get them, especially when they're fast like that. So again, this level I'd say is still probably good. It got front run over here as well. So again, if you want to continue that across, it went back and again went just a little bit deeper. So it did slice through the 23.6 again, like it was nothing, and we knew that we had a level sitting just down here. And again, that's where your target could have been. So you could have ran this all the way down. Kind of gave back some of your earnings, but then obviously pushed all the way down. I think the total move on that one, if you wrote that down, was about 66. So a nice little runner. This one looks just like the euro yen and the other ones. Again, kind of lower highs, lower lows, pushing down. As you can see, fib wise, we got a pretty nice gap between the 23.6 and the 50. There's not really a whole lot until we get down to the 61.8. There is a little bit of a test right here, and I think that that's probably, if you are short, that's probably a decent place to kind of take profit, is the 119.36, and we may get some basing. If it does, there is a racetrack behind it, so I kind of do. If we can continue this momentum, and again, this is more of a dollar strength momentum, I do kind of like this, and there's plenty of room on it. 1 to 3 is right. I had it right there. There's 1 to 3. You can see the profit taking on this one should occur right there. Right. So right at the bottom, actually, it's a little bit lower. Let's see. 9. I missed the budget just a little bit. There you go. So, and again, it's right past the 50. So kind of cool. I'm kind of, I think that one's a nice little kind of sneaky little trade in here to play dollar strength. All right, so hopefully you guys grab the 40 something up here. There's been a couple of them like that. So the next one will be set up down here. And again, just so if you guys are looking for this is going to be a break of 119.26. Actually, let's get this dead on. I was a little bit off. 2.8, 3 is right there. There you go. A 119.25. So again, little quarter base number there, right? 119.25. Nothing else on that one. Pound yen, basically sideways. We had a level, we literally were just riding along, and it's like, yeah, probably going to break. I mean, it's had an opportunity, came back down, riding, just grinding, barely stuck out the top. And again, if you're looking for an entry on this one, and you didn't take the first one, again, you could have said, okay, I'm going to take it up here. It ended up pushing back down. And again, had you taken this with Nadex, this was late last night, like after the contracts expired. If you wouldn't have gotten stopped here, this one did run, and from the entry, it dropped down about 70 something pips. So pretty decent mover, moved a couple strike prices to the downside, and is now kind of hit target where we expected it to hit, kind of bounced again. I'm assuming this one comes down and grabs the level here at 165. 165 is right before this level. That's right there. Oh, so close. So close. Right. Boom and boom. So right at the 165 mark. I don't think there's necessarily a Harry Potter trade here. No continuation, just because we have buyers stepping in. So a little bit more leery about this one. Kind of like to see some news, right? We can adjust this up a little bit more. You can see right at the 50. Look at all this buying, kind of stabilized right on top of it. So the pound yen just recently has just not been kind of my favorite. I just don't think there's been great setups on it. But again, if you were looking for this one, there was a trade here. Again, you probably got stopped on the top, but I mentioned 23 is a little bit much for me. And once it was basing, it's like, yeah, you probably just take it off. There's just not enough momentum. And then again, when we got the pop late last night, gave us the new entry, and then 5:30 reversal is right here. Um, there's your 5:30 candle. So having it push up from basically 4 o'clock on, again, you could have taken the short from there if you really, really wanted to. Okay. And again, that 5:30 is so important. Um, and it's funny. Actually, it wasn't yesterday. It was Thursday, Friday of last week. I actually had a really interesting conversation with someone because they talked about being able to trade the European Open. But 3 o'clock they said was really, really hard. And this is one of those things. If you guys want to trade the European session, understand if you're going to be a reversal based trader, 5:30 and 10:30 are your time frames, right? Those are your two times when you're looking for reversal opportunities. Um, I was like, listen, you don't have to wake up at 2:30, right? If you're looking to play the European session, play the reversal of the European session. There tends to be a lot of opportunity at that time frame, and it gives you a couple extra hours of sleep. Right? This person would go to work early, like, well, I normally wake up for work between 5:30 and 6. I'm like, okay, so wake up at 5, right? You're waking up 30 minutes early, and yet you can still say that you are trading the European session. And they're like, oh, like you like, not that I was seeing the person because I was on a call, but I was like, you could like hear the light bulb going off, right? Want to trade the European session? Don't want to wake up at 2:30 in the morning? Wake up at 5. A little bit better. And it's not uncommon, right, for people to wake up at 5 o'clock. Waking up at 2:30 in the morning, yeah, it's an early day, right? But again, nice little trade set up there on that one. Again, nice little reversal. Dollar CAD. So dollar CAD's driving. So yesterday we got almost a profit on that one. You can see, and I even mentioned it yesterday. I was like, hey, listen, We come back down here and base again, just pull the trigger on this one. And we did. Five, it just base, 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 base. You pulled the trigger on this one south, and then boom, it almost went down. And again, it blew the 1 to 3 out. And you can see it actually kind of came down and then hiccup off of it. We were so close. I hate when it does this. I'm like, yeah, okay, here's a profit target. Make sure you get out. 3 pips, 3 pips before that profit target. But again, this is why we use the 1 to 3 for all our setups. So again, yesterday we were sitting, where was it? Here, right? We had kind of not gotten the entry we wanted, and again, it pulled back up, and then I said, we get that base, crank it, and it didn't. We got the base, and there's your push. And just so everybody understands too, when we talk about this, when it gets blown through and we know it's an old level and we start seeing basing in here, you always want to use a more established kind of basing zone on this one. So again, you would not have used the old zone that was violated. You need to look for the new zone formation, and you could have said, well, wait a second, there, right? There's the basing, right? So when it goes out the bottom side, pull the trigger. So let's pull that back. You can say, hey, listen, there's the basing, or you can say even there's the basing, right? There's a bottom. Look, there's a bottom, there's a top, there's a bottom, there's a top. Play this on the way out. You could have entered really whether here or once it was a lower high, you pull the trigger here, right? So instead of it being like this, where the original trade was, you get more near term and you establish it this way. Okay. Again, on the way out, right? 1 to 3 is right. I had it perfect right there. Okay. So again, drop, 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 boom, took you out of the trade, and now it's retracing. So should be a little bit, again, I don't have this in any of the classes. The only time I ever talk about this is, whoops, is inside of these classes, inside of these sessions. So again, you're always looking for more than near term, but once it blows through, look for a level of basing in there to show you that where they are. And again, adjust it. It's all it is an adjustment. Okay. It actually was a little bit more risk based off of what the zone was. This was lower risk. This was only 14. This was about 24, but you can see the payout, nice little 75 pip trade to the downside. Same exact trade. No different. All right. Dollar Swiss. So there's a dollar Swiss. He ended up not getting the pullback. It's like, it rallied back up and it's like, yes, here it is. And then just went sideways. It's like, and it did finally touch and they kind of pushed back down. But unfortunately, with all this basing and having the stabilization and the buyers in there, it just doesn't make it the best trade. And it's still in that same level. This one's up 35 pips in 24 hours because it really did nothing. We were sitting kind of at a low right here, right? We're at the low from yesterday, but all it did was it pulled up and then it just went sideways, and we're just a little bit higher than it now. So again, this is why the Swiss is so boring. Now, with that said, we do have a zone here. We've kind of hit it. We've kind of chopped through it right now and put some more sellers in. There is this level. Look at, there is all this, right? There is all that too. So you may look at this and say, "Well, wait a second. Could there be some long opportunity here?" And I would say, "Yes, great catch." This is look, no pullbacks, no wick on the top, no wick on the top, no wick on the top. Some nice acceleration. And when did it do it? From 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock in the morning, with all that acceleration. So again, there was a reason why it accelerated down and then finally ran into somebody. This old kind of area of buyers slash sellers at this point, all of a sudden could also provide an opportunity that if we come up, we're starting the base in there now, if we can get decent clearance, right, and pull back, right, you want to be able to make sure that you get some type of this little pattern right here, right, right, be able to get a triangle drawn. That could give an opportunity for this one to go long. So, right, we could be looking at something along those lines here. Why? Because of this racetrack. All right. So again, Harry Potter kind of setup here. Again, it's if this, then that, if it breaks through the top. Ways that you can trade this, if you want to set yourself an alert, you can set yourself an alert for, somewhere here, just a little bit above, right? Set yourself an alert, when it breaks through, so then come back and look at it. Kind of see what it's looking like. I mean, if it breaks through and the candle's up here, obviously it's a no trade. You missed it. It left without us. Oh, well, can't do it. But if it breaks up and it's starting the base, by the time you get back, you can say, okay, I like this one. This is small. The risk level in this one would be 10 pips, which we love all day. And again, we're starting to see the dollar roll into areas where buying is coming back in. We're chopping through the level now. It's an old level. And again, we're finding some support down below. So again, when it finally pushes through, look for that pullback and then take off. And you can see we got plenty of room. I mean, the run on this one is 60 something pips, and this is only like a 10 pip zone. So, I mean, there's more than enough room for this one to go. All right. So there's a potential dollar Swiss trade for you, well, a momentum continuation trade. And then here is the dollar yen. Now, dollar yen, we were talking about potentially getting in at 137.21. Yesterday, 9:30 was kind of the low, and all it did was come back up and find its area, this median area. And it's funny, it based, came back up, based, and then kind of dink, 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 right through. So nothing exciting in that one, right? Nothing exciting. Um, Kind of the same thinking. 139.09 and 137.21. Top and bottom is kind of where I'm looking for this one. Not much else to say about it. Bitcoin, again, another day in the green, right? And again, a lot of the push was from yesterday, and then at 12 o'clock, it kind of just baseline and stop. And it's up a little bit, but nothing crazy. Ethereum is kind of playing catch up, but you can say, oh my God, it's up 3%. Is it? I mean, it's really just kind of cranking sideways through this zone. And we talked about this being a potential sell area, and all it did was peek its head, 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 right? And it pulls right back down to this, 15,000 or 1,550. So, nothing great there. Again, we're still waiting for the regulation. Doji also starting to pull back. You can see it broke through, and it's like, so cryptos are in an interesting place right now. So yeah, yeah, you can see our target ended up getting cranked yesterday at 9, came all the way back up again. We are looking at 101.31, and it made it up to 101.02. Missed it by 29 cents. On the grand scheme of things, it's like, we're so close. And look at the way that it pulled back. It would have absolutely been a 1 to 3. It just didn't hit. So it got close, but it did, unfortunately, it did not hit. It was so close, super close, but then sort of rallied back. So I would say right now, again, I would say probably more bearish at this point. It's chopping down. The highs are getting lower. The lows are kind of getting lower. I would say that 96.73 is probably what we're looking at. Again, recession is the name of the game on this one. The demand is, again, our economy is still strong. Where the heck is all the demand? Because nobody is actually producing anything else, right? The talk is still like we don't want Russian oil, but Saudi Arabia hasn't released any more. Like, have we met demand fully at this point? Answer is probably no. It's about, are we going to go into a global recession? Is demand going to drop because of that? And we even heard that China's data was great, that their bottom was in June, right? And we're not seeing demand restored. So the question was, is demand fully met at this point? Are we 100% independent of Russian oil, or do people just don't care anymore, right? So that's kind of where we're at. So I would say more bearish today thinking is what I would say. And again, probably coming down probably into here, 97.42-ish. Again, there's some buyers that kind of help stabilize this one, but the 96.73, our old target where we were looking before, is um, still probably decent level to look for today. All right, but don't like it as much. Natural gas, and again, why is this one rallying up? Very simply, Putin mentioned it. Again, right here, you know, there is a risk that equipment could be switched off, right? And Nord One's, stops after return from Canada. There could be, guys, that the equipment could break when I get home. If you piss me off, the equipment could break, right? That's kind of what he's saying. So, and again, having it cut off pushes it higher. We talked about this level, and this one is kind of getting front run by the level right here, right? And again, we've hit it once, we've hit it twice, we hit it 3 times, and it's pulling, kind of getting front run. I'd be very, very cautious about taking another short out of that area. I would say that wait next time till the 756. But again, confirmation, nice push. You could have shorted this morning. But again, this is a very Putin-based piece of information. So yeah, use caution with it. It is up 2% today, but I think it does probably pull back a little bit now that we have sellers in, and the data, the market's already absorbed the data, so it's there. Um, Gold, check out gold. Look at this, right back and forth. It's down 0.17. It's not really doing much. The trajectory hasn't changed. Again, there's so much support down here, and again, you got buyers up top. Again, I'm going to say that 1721 I still think is a great sell area. At this point, you can see that the wicks are just fight, fight, fight. Okay, fight, 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 fight. So I do think it'll break, but I really think that 1700 is going to be a sticking point. You can see down here the last time we were there, people just don't know what to make about this. It's like, well, inflation keeps rising, right? We got all this great inflation data today. Oh my God, we're up to 9.6. Why is this not moving? Because all the data out there that supports this, it's like, is it still going to raise next month? I mean, they're going to raise interest rates again, right? If there was no talk about. I mean, everybody knows we're raising interest rates. So the goal is to crush inflation, but this is one of those ones like being a gold trader right now is literally trying to time the top. I mean, obviously not. It's not at the top, but it's like great inflation. It's like, oh my god, it's accelerating. It's still growing, but there's no movement in gold. It's because everybody knows what's happening next. So the gold traders out there must be having like a really interesting time with all this. It's really funny. It's like oh, inflation's continuing to rise. It's like, oh, do we buy gold? No, we can't buy gold because they're going to raise interest rates even more. They're going to crush it. Okay, do we get short? I don't know. It's still rising. So I don't know. I feel like this one hasn't taken its big move yet, but it's coming. But look at this, very boring. Um, Silver, a little bit of a pop. It looks like it's up big right now at 0.75%. And again, it got a little bit of a nine push up and then kind of come back down again. But I think this one rolls back down to the 1865 today. I mean, gold is negative. Again, once this one, we got a 9 o'clock pop. I think this one turns and continues to roll back down to 1865. So again, we had the trade from this week. Again, we bounced off the other side, the 50% retracement. I think that's where it comes back down and tests. I really think that's where it's going to come back down to. But again, silver is always a little bit stranger to play. There are a lot of platforms that there are currency trade platforms that actually will let you trade silver. It's a very strange one. It's very volatile and definitely whips a lot more. A lot of exposure to it, but yeah, I'd say look for this one to come a bit lower. So let's look and see. It's like another crank at the VIX. Yeah, VIX still continuing to push to the downside. Indices overall flat. You can see that we're kind of where we were before. Let's drop it down and see if we had any subs this morning. And again, with really no news, right? Really no. I mean, existing home sales. And again, here's my shock face. Right here is my Lavrov shock face. Well, it's this one. This is my shock face. This guy kind of shocked, but this is his non-shock face. And this is my Draghi face. Am I surprised that it came down at a 5.12? No. Am I more surprised that they had the forecast only at 5.37? Um, no. Yes. I am surprised, right? That's funny. Existing home sales slid 5.4%, but it's 5.12. Oh, million. It's the percent. Yeah. I'm actually more surprised that this wasn't lower. Like, I was shocked that they did that. Like, we heard that it was like record low new mortgages and everything. I'm shocked that they only did this small amount. So not surprised that this is red. More surprised that this forecast was not lower. Okay. I think I even mentioned like 5.1 or 5.2 yesterday. So yeah, not surprised by that. This is where the economy, the recession thing is going to come from. Home sales is really where it's going to come from. So, eh. Here's the 15-minute. Look at all that level here. Let me make it really exciting. Woo, there we go, guys. It's just not exciting. Could you have traded this one though? Let's find the 9:30 window. 9:30 is this green. If you look for some basing, there was actually basing in here from the European session, right? So we could have marked this area right here. Could have been a touch, and let's see if this is a 1, 2, 3 off that level. Now again, is there lots of trend here? No. But again, it is short, and 1 to 3 is right there. So it kind of missed, right? It was a short opportunity, but you may look at this and say, well, wait a second. In recent terms, this was starting. There's ascending wicks right here. There's probably going to be an area here. So do I take it for a 1 to 3? You wouldn't have had room. Could you have traded this one to here? Yeah, that's a 1 to 2.8. Could you have traded that from the open? Sure. I mean, it turned exactly where it should have turned, right? Exactly where it should have turned. So again, but was the 1 to 3 there? No. And if 1 to 3 is a hard rule for you, you would not have traded this one at the open today. But if you looked at this and said, hey, listen, I can get at least a 1 to 2 out of it, I'm willing to take that risk in there because it should turn here based off this candle formation. You were successful. You grabbed the 1.38, right? Or 1.2, right? 1.25 or something like that. Because it did. It turned exactly where it should have. All right. What we look at this now, I would say I'd be probably more on the bearish side of this one. Again, I know a lot of people are looking really bearish based on that home sales number. And again, I don't know if there's any other headlines out there, but there's definitely some areas. I mean, the area here, it's got to chop through. It's already done it once. We're probably going to run into some sellers. And again, this one's been weird, right? Because 9:30 kind of went down and then it turned at 10 o'clock, and it's kind of like, well, wait a second, has the reversal already happened? Did it happen at 10, not 10:30? It's kind of giving you more of a base than anything else. But there's obviously sellers in here. Was this data great? Not really, no, right? So, I would say probably more bearish feeling today. But again, none of the, I mean, they're not raising interest rates or not raising interest rates off of home sales. That's just kind of one of those areas that's going to be obviously a problem child in the near future. So again, I don't think we have massive movement today without any headlines. But we can go ahead and adjust some of these to see if anything comes up and kind of screams at us. Um, eh, if that is technically going to be our top in the near term, um, yeah, if that's going to be our top in the near term, it is kind of interesting that we do now have a level here that is confirmed, and down here you have all this basing, right? Kind of all that basing right there. Look at that. You can a lot of basing, and that just happens to be the 50%. So two interesting levels to the downside. I do kind of like this here. That if this does turn negative today, or when it turns negative, it eventually will. I don't know when. Um, oops, let me get that on. There's a little racetrack right there. Let's go back to our solid line. Let's make this the same. Oops, there we go. So yeah, I mean it's a level. The 23.6 is going to be there. We're gonna have to see it break below to show you that it's not really there, and then pull back up again. So again, it is one that you want a confirmation on. But that would be a break of 39.03, right? 39.03. Um, yeah, yeah. So not bad. And then again, the second one would be sitting all the way down here, right? Would be an area that you watch out for. So that would actually be probably more of a green. So, yeah, we'll see. But again, if you wanted to take a 1 to 2 for a setup, you could have gotten it just knowing that 1 to 3 was probably not going to happen, and it didn't. So we'll see where some sellers come in. But again, that home sales data, again, it should tell you that we're leading more towards a recession. I don't. Home sales is not going to change the Fed. The Fed's not going to be like, well, because you said that, right? NQ. All right, so NQ from yesterday, we had this level and we talked about it. These were all late last night. European session kicked off here, right, for a touch, and all it did was go back down to the same level. So again, chopped through the first one, came and touched it on the second one. Let's see, 9:30 would have been here and open. Yeah, this one pulled back. And the big question on this one would have been, was there enough room to run to the top side? It would have been the same exact, but in the opposite direction. Um, Again, the thinking for this was, do you want to take an overnight base trade? Your 1 to 3 was there. Again, we knew there was buyers there. That was going to be a hard one. It did actually touch. So again, had you taken this level from yesterday, it did actually touch. You can see right there, 1 to 3.01. So it did go past and it did break the other side of it before entering. Um, Again, it needed to there to do it. Would you have traded this one this morning? I would say yeah, probably actually. Because this one opened here and then pulled back down again. So let's see. Again, knowing that there's a level here that sellers went off of, that's going to be the big question. Would you have been? Looks like 1 to 2.5 is all you could have taken out of this one before you ran into that level. And again, if you didn't look at that one, your 1 to 3 is right there. So again, you are out at your full 1 to 3, right? It just, the question is, would you have taken the risk on that one? And again, if you're not adding that in there, is there enough room to run? If that was if it was a hard line, then guess what? This one you got stopped out at break even. You didn't quite make your 1 to 3. Um, Oops, you made it to 1 to 2.77, right? And then probably got stopped out at break even or banked it in. This one, you would have obviously gotten your 1 to 3 out of it, right? And again, probably the overnight and this one. So again, kind of 2 for 2, right? 2 for 2 for setups. Hold on 1 second. Um, Debbie Melissa's day is getting better. It's getting even better. Um, so again, You've been good on this one. YM, let's see. YM, let's see. 9:30 candles here. Actually, it pulled back. But again, kind of the same thinking. It pulled back to a level there and did not enter. So would have been nice to say, oh, there's another one. I think this one probably hit its 1 to 3 even, but I'm just going to be realistic. This one would not have triggered. Yeah, 1 to 3 is there. So love that. Again, it's always nice to cherry pick the data, but the pit bet gang would have got you. If you would have marked, I mean, you could if you would have marked the zone off to here, then sure, but you wouldn't have made it here. That's where the zone is drawn, and you missed it. So got front run by just a very, very little tiny bit. It did go past your 1 to 3. So again, that one is good. Again, there's the basing in there. And funny enough, this is also a parallel channel. Um, let's see, where's my parallel channel? You could say, well, wait a second. There's two tops, two touches, three touches. There's also the same thing. So yeah, I would say for YM, I would say again, it is the weakest right now. If these do start to take a negative turn, this one should push down. But I will say, look at this right here. Look at this 23.6 right here. That could be the overall target for this one and a potential area. I mean, again, if we push down 31,564, it's a decent level. Fib traders are going to see that one. They're going to say, wait a second, here's the pullback. It's been negative today. We need a reverse, right? End of the day rally. Um, it's weakest, but again, if it's going to get some buyers, there you go. As far as what potentially could be happening with that one. But again, if you were trading this with the open, you probably would have missed it. The pit bet gang got you over here in the indices as well, and the Russell. Again, 1800 is big. Again, look at this. Hit it down. Bases. It's look top, bottom, bottom, kind of a bottom, right? Peaked its head, based right in the middle of it. Came back up, sliced through the top, sliced through the bottom, sliced through the top, and now it's kind of sitting over there. So it just shows you how much 1800, how important 1800 is. Would we have traded this one at the open? Let's see. 930 is here. Not really. It's at a base. If anything, maybe you took this one for a short. Um, maybe you would have said again. I deleted that level B. So wait a second. There's a level right here. Maybe, but look at the bottom here at 830. Um, you would have had to mark this off and say, hey, look at that right there. I mean, that's a decent level. Buyer stepped in, ascending candles higher. That's barely even a 1 to 1. So I don't think that you would have taken the Russell today. Um, and again, maybe mark this off for a Harry Potter, right? Because look at that. It bracketed here and bracketed there. They're just not really enough to trade in that one. So, yeah, so it looks like 3 out of the 4 would have been trades. One of them you would have not been able to get entry in. One you absolutely smashed the 1 to 3. The other one made it to about a 1 to 2.77. But knowing that it was probably not going to make it to its full profit target, you would have to keep that in mind. So, interesting morning today for the open. I love it. Let's see, is natural gas? Yeah, natural gas is still continuing to push down. Oil continuing, look, oil starting to accelerate a bit further. And again, it is Wednesday, so let's see. Eh, there's expected to be a big surplus, right? Expected to be a big surplus. There was just a little surplus, or a little bit down draw, right? Minus point 0.4. Nothing super exciting. Let's look at oil real quick on a 1 minute. Yeah, look at that. Would we have traded this one this morning? Probably short, right? If we're looking for stabilization, you can see it's stabilizing right here. It's about the only stabilization we're getting, right on that level. So, yeah, there would have been your oil short. And we didn't even do oil today. I forgot that was Wednesday. There's your oil short. So, had you traded oil this morning on the 35 and 1 strategy, it pulled up on a base and a confirmation, and there you go. So, you are out of oil, even though technically it's a green number. 2.83 is right there. So, either way, it doesn't matter. So, yeah, we missed that one. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry. But yeah, so oil was an easy one. Oil was an easy one today, I guess. All right, so that's it for today. Let's go ahead and do the drawing. Who did we win? Eki won yesterday, right? Again, because we just did a normal session yesterday. And Eki stole that one. So Eki actually, and for Eki, that was 2 in a row. So this technically for Eki is 3, right? This would be 3 in a row for Eki. All right. Let's see who do we got here. Ernest. No Will again. I wonder if Will's on vacation. Let's touch base with Will. It's odd that Will misses 2 days in a row. So, all right. What the heck is this import? I wonder what the heck imports into this. All right, let's close it down. Winner of today's drawing is Ernest. Takes it with two. 28% chance, kind of like a 30% chance there. So Eki got stopped. And again, Eki did really well in that pip chip transfer there. Let's see. Leaderboard. Ernest in 25 for the day. Oh, there's Will. Yeah, you missed it, Will. Well, I was worried. I was like, is Will on vacation? I'm like, this is 2 days in a row. And I was like, oh, Will does go on vacation. I was like, that makes sense. That's right. I know. Your hacks didn't work today. Yeah. Well, don't you normally take? Well, I thought you normally take like a July vacation, don't you? I remember last year I thought you did too. I remember thinking before, I was like, oh God, what happened to Will? And you're like, nah, it's just on vacation or something. So, all right, I need to go help Melissa. She's still scrambling, so I need to make sure I get all that stuff ready to go. And then tomorrow morning, we'll be back on normal time. I'll actually have no distractions, no kids, no babies, just a dog and a cat, a bird. Fun and exciting. All right, so with that said, I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. Um, And actually, because I don't have the kid tomorrow, maybe we'll go. Hmm. Maybe we'll go early tomorrow. Maybe we'll go 9 to 10 tomorrow. That way, we can kind of see if we can get any of the setups at the open, just to kind of do it live time versus kind of reviewing it. Maybe I'll try to work it around, like not like I can get all the way through everything, but maybe I'll look. Maybe we'll try it that way. Maybe we'll try to do like a 9 to 10 tomorrow to make it a little bit easier. Um, since obviously without the morning show, I don't know. We'll see. I'll see how I'm feeling tomorrow morning. So we'll either be on at 9:30 or we'll be on at 9, and then we'll be able to do a little bit more opening trade stuff. All right. So with that said, not normally. Sometimes they stack. All right. I will catch you guys tomorrow. Thanks for joining me today, and take care.